Okay, so studio time check right here in Ibiakuran, in the heart of Uruan local government area of Akwa Ibom State. It's some 4 to 5 small minutes since it clocked 8 this Wednesday morning, and it's a special morning. Right now, you're enjoying the delight of watching the flagship breakfast show of this beautiful TV station, Spectrum. And on Spectrum TV this morning, we on the Rise and Shine team, we have Planet FM 101.1 FM joining us live, and of course Thanksy 102.7 FM also joining in live. That's because we're going to have a very important discussion with a special woman. First though, let me talk about this special man. Pastor Umoina of Akwa Ibom State is our governor, and he's marking his first anniversary in office, and we thought we should take out each of the days that I'm here. I was initially scheduled to be here for 12 days. I have done 5 now, just a little 7 to go. And so today we are looking at agriculture. Yesterday the head of service was here, a fellow of the Nigerian Mining and Geosciences Society, and you know what wonders that be. Today we're going to have a beautiful discussion with a friend of the house, friend of this place, friend of the media, wonderful woman, fantastic woman. Doesn't look like her office, doesn't look like the person holding the office, but she's the one. She's the big woman when it comes to agriculture in Akwa Ibom State. University lecturer, a wife, a mother. Help me welcome Dr. Ofion Ofo.
Thank you, Mr. Bush.
Honorable Commissioner, if they came to this room and they said they were looking for Honorable Commissioner.
No, they will not be able to spot me. The same challenge I used to have when I was in the university. I started in the group of among the students. You can't spot me yet. Wow. So it's been a generational problem for me. Even when I was a copper, it's just that the uniform stands me. The students out from me, but then we're blessed with this size.
You know, if somebody was to come in here now and look for the Commissioner for Agriculture, it wouldn't certainly be any of us. They would just be looking around.
They probably think it's Mr. Bush.
Oh no! All Commissioner, so nice to see you.
Oh, it's always a pleasure.
Are you missing lecturing? Are you missing your time as a lecturer?
No, I always like to take on tasks that challenge me.
Absolutely.
So this is bigger than what we're doing in the university.
Absolutely.
We just teach an estimated number of students, and the curriculum is there. The little deviation was because it was agric. There was some practical part to it, but this is bigger.
Absolutely. When you arrived as Honorable Commissioner, in the dying days of the Udom administration, even you yourself, you told your husband, you told your children, you told your students, don't worry, it's very short, I'm coming back. Right now, every time I listen to you, every time I watch you at events, or I get the honor of coming to your office, or we have the honor of having such encounters as we do now, I don't see you going back anytime soon.
Well,
is that a good prophecy?
Yeah, a prophet now. It's a good prophecy. Why? Because this is a bigger scope of work for me. I appreciate His Excellency for the privilege to handle this level of responsibility. It's beyond what we're teaching students in the school. There are several aspects that you will get to see in real time. Then relating with farmers. They're not very polished people.
Absolutely.
So the dynamics are different. And then the scope of work, doing one thing after the other, has exposed me to knowing so much more and being able to handle matters differently. So I appreciate him for. So many times it's like you had a background knowledge of something, so you apply it to what you're doing.
Okay. So we're still doing the preliminaries and the preamble, and Francis will take over from me and ask his own 3 questions. My third and final question this round, before Francis takes over, does 3, and then Emmanuel 2. By the way, did we introduce ourselves to the commissioner?
No, you did not.
Oh no! Oh no! So this is our boss on this set. This is the big man of this set. He's actually the one who runs it with Uyai. Uyai just went off to get married, and we'll be back on set, I think, the week after. Next, and all of that. So this is Francis Edet. He's an Mbu guy. He's an Orong guy. We're very fond of him. We like him like that. And that's Ime Emmanuel. Ime Emmanuel comes from Cross River State. Today is his first day on set.
Okay.
This is the first day he's been on set here. He's just starting work. and he's launching his career with Honorable Commissioner. So it shows you he's going to be a big boy. Yeah,
I'm from
absolutely.
Akwa
Oh, you're from Akwa Ibom,
Yes.
but you live in Cross River.
I schooled and was
Okay, all right. Okay, great. So which part of Akwa Ibom?
in
Ibom, okay, closer to the governor than myself. So my name is Michael Bush, and Honorable Commissioner is here. So Honorable Commissioner, my last preliminary question would be about the roads to your journey to the studio, because just as you said, I know that Terry, you and Terry had a little banter before.
Very
now,
dramatic.
Yes. So how was your trip down there?
Bumpy. At the regular road I used to take, there was a hip hop stand, so they had to make us do a detour. When we went there, we still had to ask questions because we passed where we're supposed to branch off on the left. It's quite an uphill task getting here.
Absolutely.
And I think the person who set this up here did it intentionally.
Sartonia Affair, yes.
Yes,
It's very intentional. It's true. It's true. He's looking forward to actually meeting with you right on the heels of the program. So, Francis.
Well, it's good to have you join us, the Honorable Commissioner. I think initially I thought you were from Oron because of
My first
like
I'm always looking for people from Oron. I'm just saying. I think I'll have to start looking for
my
people from my
father named
side.
me Opium. It was very significant because I was born at a time when they didn't expect that I would come. So it kind of lighted up the whole place.
Oh, it's interesting. Okay, so good to have you join us on Rise and Shine. You mentioned in your early comments just getting to talk, dealing with the farmers in Akwa Ibom State. And just before that, CEO Tony Afia was very intentional. And I would say maybe he dreamt of connecting the dots long before Governor Pastor Umoino came on board. So he was thinking of connecting the dots in Akwa Ibom State and then brought in TAB Media Group into this space. Let's start with, how has it been for you as the Commissioner for Agriculture at a time when food security, the lack of food and everything surrounding that is a major focus across board?
It's always been a major focus, just that inflation has made it worse. We didn't see it. If we saw it, we wouldn't have been where we are now. Someone said something to me the other day. She said, in America, just 3% of the people are farmers and they have so much food and they're the big boys. Here, the reverse is the case. I said, they are talking about here now. If some of the challenges we have had, some people have asked me, Akwa Ibom State has oil. They don't need any support. They have so much money. So that's been the wrong impression people have had about us as a state. That because you have some other you're blessed with another natural resource, so you do not need to do anything else. And so when you ask for them to include interventions, they go, no, you people have oil, what are you doing with that? And now the other states who don't have oil to have us. And it's a common law. Everybody has a right to access it. So you see, it's been, if we had known that days like this would come, it would have changed the approach. I mean that thinking farming was something that would make your hands dirty. It wasn't a popular thing. Because like I tell the farmers, without you there is no nation. What are we doing without food? You see countries fight war and there is no food and everybody is worse for it. Look at what happened in Ukraine and Russia. What are we doing with wheat supply in the world? We're looking for alternatives, using cassava flour to mediate. So you see, these things are the realities that we live with. That if we had woken up to this earlier, it wouldn't be as bad as what it is now. And we kept telling people, agriculture is a way for us to go, irrespective of whatever natural resource you have. We need to have that as a basic thing in our minds, that everybody has to have something good coming in agriculture. Okay, look at countries that have so much other natural resources. They still do agriculture. Why? Because you always need food, my brother. At whatever point it is. No matter how much oil you have, food is your most basic need. No matter how much tin or whatever other natural resource, gold, you can't eat gold.
No matter how rich you are.
No matter how rich you are, you need food. So if we had that at the back of our minds, it will now inform the activities that we would do, how we would support that sector of the economy, both for crop and for livestock. So
it's a mindset thing. I want to draw your attention to the second question this morning. From secondary school, we are taught, go to school, graduate, get a good degree, get a white-collar job. Don't you think that is where we all started getting it wrong? And if it is, how do we change the narrative and create a different mindset in the minds of the people?
yes, you're right. It's a mindset thing. And okay, for someone like me, for example, when I went to the university to study agriculture, people ask me, why would you do that? You're wasting 5 years. Our grandparents know how to farm. What are you doing with agriculture? And if you studied agriculture in the university, I did my first degree in Unica. You wouldn't even want to tell somebody that's what you're doing. Actually, yes, it was a place for people who didn't have good jam scores. You were dumped there. It was like a dump site. You just go manage either crop science or whatever else you're going to do. So you can't tell somebody proudly that this is what I'm doing. But someone that did history can boldly say, I'm doing history. So when somebody told me, what are you doing with agriculture when our grandparents do farming for free? I told him, what are you doing with history? It's storytelling. What's the importance? At least agric is food. Let's look at the professional ways of doing it. So like you said, it's a mindset. Okay, even if you go to the secondary schools, like we've been sharing inputs to secondary schools and primary. Ask them, what would you like to study in the
Nobody mentions
medicine, accounting,
law.
What is that? Agric is nowhere near.
Absolutely.
Even if you tell your parents, they'll start praying for you that, please, let my child not study agriculture. Of all things to study agriculture. But I grew up in a family where my father was, even though he was a lecturer, liberated enough to think, let a child do what he or she has competence in. Because he studied, look at that from secondary school level, looked at the subjects where you had your strengths, where you always had A's with ease without too much drama. So it's just a mindset thing. And then there has to be a reorientation, because even the people that have graduated from school have seen now that it is not a certificate that takes you anywhere. You need to learn a skill, and most of those skills are in agribusiness. So we need to change the narrative and make our young people, like when we go to secondary school, the Young Farmers Club has been revived, to tell them you need to go back to the farm, and don't think that farming is something that you should be ashamed of.
Francis, I know that you're going to ask your third question, but I just need to chip in, because this thing that the commissioner is saying in response to your question is a fundamental aspect of life. We need to tell our children. If she had not studied agriculture, she would not be commissioner for agriculture.
Yes.
The guy that said, you are doing history, you are doing this, is not commissioner of history. Do you understand? So it's a big point that she just raised. Yes, Francis.
Okay, so still, the RISE agenda centers around agricultural revolution, and the governor is very passionate about making sure we have enough food for Akwa Ibomites and then for export. The bulk of implementing or making sure that becomes a living reality lies on your table and rests with your office. How are you able to navigate this, dealing with the Akwa Ibom community, with the different views that we have?
First, training is a basic component of it, because these farmers have a mind. We're talking about mindsets here. Some of them, if you try to introduce a variety to them that does better than what they've been using, they say, this is what our grandparents, they'll try to fault it. But if they see how it works, that's why we have a lot of demonstration farms, where you can say, this is how this variety works. So it's something that you can adopt. Then they go. It's as bad as sometimes if you even gave some of them cuttings before now, they said they don't accept some locations. They don't accept it. Say it will not do well in our soil. Don't bring it. Keep it. So even if you give them, they keep it and allow it to rot. So first of all, training, changing their mindsets by training, using extension, telling them that the world has moved. We used to use analog phones where you put your finger on it. I don't know if my uncle had it.
The landline. I was there. Yes, sorry.
We turn it turns all the way back. Now we have cell phones. You can access internet. So the world has moved. The same thing with, so moving means that there are better ways. We used to have very tall palm trees. Now we have very short ones which are hybrid. And they will still fruit. Just that it's advantageous to the thieves. You don't have to, you can just stand there and have it.
You don't go through the stress of climbing.
You just stand and have it, very easy to harvest. Same for coconuts. So changing their mindset via training, supporting them with improved variety of inputs and improved breeds of livestock. And then beyond all, finance, which is the major pivot of any level of production, supporting them with access to finance. So it's hinged on these 3 points.
Amen.
All right, I want to ask Honorable Commissioner, because coming from the fact that you're a lecturer, you've seen a lot of students in school, you have to interface with youth. Now, I want to ask, what is the level of youth interest in agriculture?
That's a great question.
Coming from, I mean, you said a lot of, when you were in school, a lot of people would just want to go to agriculture because
they didn't have anything
they don't
else
have
to do.
just to
They don't
be
have-
in school.
Yeah.
So, as a lecturer, what is the level of youth interest in agriculture that you've seen? I mean, they've graduated, and what's next? How many of them?
Yes. Even though the emphasis now is on, even if you have a degree, get a learn a skill,
Yeah.
which is a very good approach. But initially, youth thought that agric was something that they should not be involved in. Why? Because most of the people who were doing agric were rural based. So it's not very popular. If many people in the villages are doing that, and two, you will not give them the kind of money that they're looking for, and at the rates they're looking for it. When you plant something like cassava, we're talking about 9 months, 9 to 12 months. Will you have the patience to wait? And then, even if you are breeding, raising birds, poultry, you can do 3 months. That's for one cycle. Fish is even out of that league. So the young people, because of their energy level and their expectations of life and the things that they have seen outside here, there's a lot of westernization, influence of the West on our young people, so much so that they want money that comes fast. And as far as they're concerned, agric is not a place to get that kind of money. So you see, even those of them who came, even I used to tell them in school that some of you are here because you don't have a choice to do some particular aspects of agriculture. Okay, one day in class, I just said, how many people feel this course in their jam? Like, just 10 people in the whole class raised their hands. So I asked the rest of them, what are you doing here? They say they just asked us to do this while we get up. I'm telling you the reality, yes, just to be in school. So I now knew where my problem was, and I tried to see how to. I said, okay, well, you are here, you're stuck. You can't go anywhere now. This is a year 3 class that we're talking. So in 2 years you're out.
Yeah, out, yeah.
So there's nothing you can do to change that. So you saw some of them saw it as, there's nothing I can do, I'm already here, let me just manage it. No, it's not supposed to be like that.
Absolutely.
It's not supposed. That's why I said our young people, once we change, because this generation will take over from the people who are the adults who are here now. So they need to change their mindset to see that if we must feed ourselves and support other people with food, we have to do agriculture. I told them, okay, just do vegetables, which are even short. Their cycles are shorter. Do cucumbers, do pepper, do okra. Start somewhere before you get to the wheel. And who are the people that are making money? It's the people that are doing shoe crop.
Now, there's something you said at the beginning of the show when you talked about that 3% of Americans are actually the ones involved in agriculture, and we can see that we are almost importing everything done in America. We're almost importing their food, canned food, and all of this. Now, where do we get it wrong as a country? Is it at the secondary level or the primary level? Because I remember back then in secondary school when we used to do agriculture, I only did theory agriculture. It took me a while before I knew what certain crops were, to identify what a cassava plant looked like, what a corn plant looked like. Those ones were the ones that you could assess. Where did we get it wrong? Why is it that we don't have more people who are passionate about agriculture? Because I believe if we have more people practicing agriculture commercially, we won't have food shortage. I mean, Ukraine will not have to be giving us
wheat.
I mean, for a country that is at war, they're still giving us wheat.
Yes.
So, where did we get it wrong as a country?
We got it wrong as a country where we are over dependence on oil. God gave us oil and everything else. Okay, we used to have pyramids in this country, pyramids of groundnut in the north. Those kind of things that Malaysia got their oil palm from us, and today they are the biggest the world over. We would even be looking up to them in oil palm production. So where did we get it wrong? When we put all our focus on oil and thought that nothing else really mattered. And then, like I said, if we saw that it was something that mattered and we ingrained that into our young people, generations have come and gone. You would have seen that it would have now been a generational thing. This generation comes, you have people there. It is just, and then the level of practice. We're practicing it as at a subsistent level. That is, I'll plant it, what is left, I take to the market. Not as a business. That's one of the challenges we've had. A business means I'm growing this to sell, but some portion of it is also there for my family. So the approach will be different. If it do it as I feed my family, what's left I sell in the market. Some days you will not go to the farm. If the rain falls too seriously, you will rather sleep. But when you know it is business, my brother, even if it rains cats and dogs, you get up, you go to the farm. So it's looking at it as, that's why it took a while for people to know that this is business. So we need to change our mindset too. If this is business, I need to have records. Farmers will plant, and when they harvest and they sell in the market, they do not even know their total cost of production for that cycle. They are happy that they have money in their hands. They may even be running at a loss. They say, thank God I sold today. They tie the money in their wrapper. They go home happy. They may be running at a loss. And many times they tell them this is the reason why you should keep money. Most of them are not literate, but they have children who are literate, so who help them with record keeping. That came over time when you told them that you need to take this as a, even the funders, when they want to support you, they will ask, how much do you make from your farming and the enterprise? You cannot say, I do not know, because that means you're not practicing it as a business.
Now, the last question I want to ask you, as a commissioner, and the current administration is actually focusing on agriculture, even at the national level. I remember the wife of the president actually made this agenda about people going back to, planting a farm at the backyard and all this stuff.
Garden.
Now, yes, garden. What is, I want to ask, what percentage?
There's a difference between garden and farm.
Yes, it's up to encourage people to go back to,
Absolutely.
yes, at least to encourage
Yes.
food. Now, I want to ask this question, what percentage of Akwa Ibomites are into commercial farming? And are they doing it right?
Well, there are not too many in commercial farming. We have more smallholder farmers. Smallholder means people that do from 0.5 hectares. Then commercial means people that really do big farming.
Yes.
Well, there are not too many, and it's not as if we can't have many farmers doing agriculture on a commercial basis. A crop, for example, our land tenure pattern has been a challenge to us. The kind of land system that we have, that we operate, where there's a lot of fragmentation.
Okay.
All of us are from the same family. Mr. Bush is the first son. He has the biggest land size, followed by him, followed by you. Then, if I'm the last, I think if I'm the woman, I don't even have a portion. I just wait for the day I will marry, and then
go to your
my
husband's
husband's portion.
portion.
Even that your husband's portion.
If someone else is dragging it with
someone
you.
is dragging it with you. And not a bona fide family member. So there's a level they'll give you. So you see that land tenure, and then the kind of rainfall pattern we have here, where there's so much rain, and then we have the forest belt here. It's very expensive to develop land south, where you have so much rain. In the north, they can have hectares and hectares, because it's at Sahara, no vegetation. So they can do so much commerce. That does not excuse us either. So these kind of issues, the way land is acquired, the tenure pattern, and all those issues have limited people from really going into commercial farming. And like I said, if majority of them were practicing farming at a subsistence level, it takes a while to step up, to encourage them to, okay, you can go higher. They may have that land, but they'll look at, why don't I just do what I've been doing? If I want to increase, it will cost me so much more. So cost is also a factor. So there are so many factors that define how many people go into commercial farming. But for the livestock sector, it's completely different. That's dependent on the availability of money, how much money you have to be able to do what you're doing. But for the crop, the land has always been an issue.
Okay, you just joined us. It's Rise and Shine. It's a special program right here, breakfast flagship show on Spectrum TV, which is broadcast across Africa. And we're just excited that we are here this morning. We're even joined by our two sister stations, Planet FM 101.1 and then Tangsio FM 102.7. And the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Agriculture, Akwa Ibom State, Dr. Fiongofo, is our studio guest. That because Governor Moino is marking his first anniversary in office, and we just took out today to look at what his achievements in the agricultural sector. We're joined now by our first virtual guest, who is in Lagos. We're going to have two others. We'll have one from the continent of Europe and another from the continent of the Americas. Lagos. Dan Chris Ebie of Econo. Are you there?
Very much, yeah. Good morning.
What is going on? Yes.
Good morning.
Many thanks for
Can you
joining
hear me
us.
from the studio?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, the boss.
How are you, brother? How are you today? We have the
Yes,
Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Agriculture, Akwa Ibom State, Dr. Fiongo seated.
Yes, I've been following. Beautiful woman she is, and always inspiring to see, this dynamic young lady do amazing things. I have a few times visited her office for, to pick up crops, and I see that she's very, very hard.
You do all sorts of things in Lagos.
I was just
You're
about to
an
ask.
actor, you're in Nollywood, you're a movie director.
And you're not a farmer.
No, it's a farmer. Every commissioner wants everybody to be a farmer. Even if you're not a farmer, you can be a gardener.
Yeah, very
But this
important.
garden will not be for flowers.
Absolutely. We're having some technical connections with Lagos, but you can be sure that Dan Kusebia will be back any moment now. But let's get back. Okay, he's there. Dan.
It's actually raining heavily in Lagos at the moment, so the network keeps fluctuating. But I'm here. Welcome, Honorable Commissioner. It's good to have you again in the studio.
Thank you.
You worked very hard. I followed you, like I said earlier. A few times I've visited the office and I see how hard you have taken this job. And I'm sure it's going to also encourage other people from the classroom to know that agriculture is not just come and sit in, because you can't make engineering and the law and the rest of them. I'm sure you are a role model now for those who are in the agricultural, who are in school studying agriculture. My questions will be directly, agriculture is one of the highlights of the current governor, and we appreciate the fact that he concertedly has done, is giving a lot of attention to agriculture. And just like you said earlier, the question was posed at you to, asking to know how the youths are getting engaged in agriculture. I think I've been in Uyo in March when the first rain came in. I saw a number of youths going back to the farm, and for me that was cheering. That was something that I was very happy to have witnessed while in Uyo. I think because of the governor, a lot of people are going back to the farm, and I also still would encourage more people to go back to farming. But I would ask you directly, Akwa Ibom is not, how will I put it now? If you say in Nigeria, you say rubber in Benin like we used to grow up to know. You say tomatoes come from the north. What are the crops we are promoting to come from Akwa Ibom that Nigerians can sit back and say, oh, if you go to Akwa Ibom, you can get this? We have oil palm, we have cassava, we have cucumber, produced in mass, quantity in Akwa Ibom. Please, what is your office doing to promote this and many other crops that can be, people can say, okay, this comes from Akwa Ibom, are you doing enough to promote what we are producing from Akwa Ibom? And then secondly, let me just take this second question.
Okay, the technical issue has come back again, but Honorable Commissioner, he left us with the first question.
Which he answered some part of it. He said we are doing all palm crops. He's asking what crops do we have comparative advantage that you can say when you go to Akwa Ibom, you can find oil palm, you find rice. Cassava is everywhere in the south. You can also do cassava. We also have cocoa. So those are where we have our major advantage, and vegetables, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Vegetables, water leaf, alfera. Now people are doing tomatoes.
Yes.
Because we have it in the greenhouse, but people are also growing them outside. We have okra, even so much okra in Akwa Ibom.
So on it can be said that we have the capacity, we have the potentiality to do everything.
Yes. We can do everything because the rain favors us. The climatic conditions favor us. Even when the rains are not here. People still, you see those women who do vegetables where you have wetlands. where you have water, wetlands around where you have water. They see it with a lot of dedication. So all those things favor us. He's saying, what is government doing to encourage the young people? Okay, beyond telling them come to agriculture, but to see how to set up, give them some good support to access finance to be able to do agricultural production, starting with their areas of interest, starting with vegetables. Because if you have not practiced agriculture on a large scale, if you have not done agriculture on a large scale, we advise that when you start small. So that you don't have a challenge. I once worked for a boss who set up a farm with his retirement benefits from an all-servicing company, and he later shut it down. He didn't get any profit from it. Millions and millions of naira churned into it.
What went wrong?
What went wrong was, yes, he had the passion, he had the interest, but he didn't start small. He started with fish. I don't know who advised him to do that. And one day he had 20 fish ponds. 20. So the people were grappling with a number of things, and I don't think the farm manager was very competent. At the time I went, it was to take data as to why the farm failed. And he told me, I had a passion, but I think I put my money in the wrong hands. I said, no, sir. We started out too large. You should have just done a small thing. You learn from there your mistakes, you scale up gradually until you arrive at your destination. But you just came with 20 feet, you've never done agri. Your money is in the hands of people who you are not even sure of. Whatever they tell you, you take it. It's a business land that you're not familiar with. So you reduce your risk. You start small. And I told him, I advise you to start with fish. You are doing a cycle of 6 months. Why don't you start with poultry? Do something small first. Okay. Say, no, a man of his class. He said to do something, so no.
And Uncom, that goes not just for, that's not confined to just, that far transcends agric. You want to start business. Anything you want to do, start small. For instance, even here, Saturnia started with Planet Defense. Went from Planet to Spectrum, from Spectrum to Tangsio, and all of that. And nobody knows what else is doing tomorrow. But Uncom, my second question this round would, before Francis again takes over, you alluded to bank, something that this administration, something that our governor is doing. Well, it's trying to put money in the hands of small people. Recently you gave out 400 million to, I think, 800 small businesses.
Yes.
Just recently again, you did another one. The other time you did another one. You're doing that for SMEs as well. So I ask you, are you doing that in the agricultural sector, especially considering that you have Fadama, and how is that bank doing now?
Fadama, he's encouraged farmers to go there to get support for the agri-business. They're going to get support.
Are they giving?
Sure, they will give them. Sure.
Are they giving, Honorable Commissioner? They will give them. It's a different thing.
They are giving. There are people that are already in Fadama.
Wow.
What we want to do is because that's why we said people should come register as a group. Because the challenge with access to finance for agricultural purposes, from my experience, because I worked in an NGO that supported women farmers with finance to carry out agricultural production. And those loans were given to them as groups. They cross-guaranteed each other, so it was difficult for them to default. Apart from being the best performing loan, it was able to achieve the purpose for which it was set for. So we said, come register. If you don't have a cooperative group, put yourselves together as a group. When you come, it's easier for you to access finance that way. Beyond that, even as an individual farmer, you can go there, meet them. Because His Excellency wants also to reach out to them with financial support. Finance is pivot of everything that you can bring level of production. Because some of them would have an interest, they have a passion. But the challenge is, how do you bring the passion to life? So you need some form of financial support, which many of them will be given. Some of them are already in the bank doing business. And some farmers are averse to risk, many of them. You tell a farmer, we are going to give you X amount of money. They said, no, please, I don't want that. I had a practical field experience where we went to a community and we told them, a group, we told them we were going to give them money. They said no, they didn't want it.
Whoa. In Akwa Ibom?
No.
Okay.
When I worked for the project, it was outside. They said they didn't want. That they had a bad experience with someone who gave them support to do cassava, and cassava does 9 months, and they said repayment in 6 months. I told them that the loan was wrongly struck. They said no, they didn't want. They almost told us. We entered our vehicle. On our way to leave, they called us back. That they have met, and they think that they can listen to us. But Mr. Bush, that would have been a bad loan.
Absolutely.
Their initial reaction is
just tells you.
They just went back and said, okay, allow her, let her come back, and then the money and share after the government deal with her later. So when I came down and I sat with them and they all talked, okay, we're going to, so I took their data and I left and I didn't get it.
Oncom. Was that when you were a lecturer or the politician?
I wasn't even a lecturer then.
Yeah, sure.
I just worked for the NGO.
Okay.
I worked there before I became a lecturer.
So now you are worse. Now you will not even talk to them again. You tell them bye.
I had to go back and pretend like
Absolutely. Sure.
it's okay, everything is fine.
Sure.
Give me your information. Who is the president of the group? Chairman. I got all that data.
Absolutely.
And I entered my vehicle, and because I was taught that the first reaction.
Absolutely.
That's it.
It's everything. Okay, on to my last question. This round would be now about your ministry. In particular, I want us to beam the searchlight of your ministry. You know, Oncom, just as you have said, anybody sits in the village or sits anywhere, the Ministry of Agriculture, but you do far too much. You know, I had a guy in Abuja call me up that, they have this kind of thing, they think it can affect farmers. I said, okay, I can go and speak with the commissioner. Only for me to come and notice that you have a whole down line that's so important to that. That is a big department in the ministry. So what do you do at the Ministry of Agriculture in Akwa Ibom State?
Okay, what do? We support farmers with training. The extension arm, which is academic, that's agricultural extension arm. Training means that these farmers, these people are on the field, telling them this is not the way to go. If you have a challenge, maybe caterpillar eating your maize leaves, you know what you can use to spray it to have a solution. Or if you're planting in a flood-prone area, we know what advice to give you: precision farming. Plant in mounds instead of just plowing and putting the sticks on the ground so that water. So there's so much done in training in varieties of crops and breeds of animals that are improved, that they can adopt. So many things going on there. Then input support is a major thing that His Excellency is doing. Why? Because we're trying to see how to make production better. If you keep recycling the same cuttings you were doing 20 years ago, you know the value. The output drops every year. There's diminishing returns too. It's not only in human life. A child that was born 30 years ago, at some point will become an adult and age. And things in the child's body will change. The same thing with crops. So if they keep recycling these cuttings, you're not getting too much out of it. So we need to see what are the cuttings people are using and making so much out of, getting so much out of. And we try to encourage them, okay, let's plant them in our demonstration farms. You see, this is how it's doing. Don't plant your whole farm, just take a section. When you see the performance, you can scale up. So much is being done in input support. The oil palm seedlings, yesterday we were at Orogonam, we shared to them the sets from 18 months to 3 years, as against the wild palms that you have. By the time they adopt that, with time, you will not be seeing those very tall trees. That some of them have gotten profit from them, we are going to loss. Because they have fruited and fruited and fruited. And then there are agronomic practices that you would carry out on those trees. You will slash, you would know how to prune it so that the more fruits come out. So this thing, that you can never overemphasize training. The same thing with access to finance. So these are the things that we are doing with the farmers. Like you talked about Ibom Fadama, encouraging them to go open accounts, not only as individuals, as groups, so that even when we have support from donor funders, they still support, they prefer to support them as groups. Like we're currently on a project called Trace, sponsored by USDA and the Electoral World Relief, trying to bring those cocoa farmers together in groups, because they believe if we give them financial support as a group, they'll do so much more. If they want, they will hardly default. If you don't get the president, the secretary, the treasurer, all members of the group are there. So what is government doing in these 3 basic areas, trying to see how to support farmers input? Because once you get the inputs right and then you are able to practice good agronomic practices, you see that what you are planting will grow well. The same thing with animal production.
Yeah.
If you are doing poultry, if you are doing fish, so they are being taught that this is how to do it better.
Yeah, Honourable Commissioner, any moment now, Francis will take over with his next round of 3 questions. As a matter of fact, right on the heels of this follow-up question to that. So, if an Akwa Ibom person or somebody residing in Akwa Ibom wants to come to the ministry, how many departments are there? What, for instance, he needs somebody. He said something like input support. What does that mean? Where does the person go to? Which department can the person go to, depending on what he needs?
We have so many departments, but the ones that will concern them would be, we have like a directorate called Directorate of Agriculture. We have fisheries. We have livestock. We have community development, we have cooperatives.
What about soil? Something soil.
Agricultural lands and soils under Department of Agriculture.
Okay.
So that's engineering. So many other departments are under.
Engineering.
Yeah, we have engineering.
Okay. We're making progress.
Yes, because that's where we have the machines for land preparation.
Okay.
So that's the biggest department actually in the ministry. So they can come there. That's where they can get input support if you are doing crop. But there's livestock, there's fisheries, there's vet services. Veterinary services are the ones that inspect meats at the abattoirs to see how.
They still do?
Yeah, they do.
Wow.
Yes. So if the animal is deceased, they bury it. They stand there and ensure that it is buried. They go around, they have veterinary clinics where you can walk in with your animal and then have it treated. So all those, if you want, depending on what you want, if you come to room 99, Ministry of Agriculture, they will direct you to where you should go. Exactly.
Room 99.
I like this specificity. Room 99.
So if you go to room 99, they'll tell you this is where you should go, this is what you need.
Room 99.
Yes.
Why room 99?
That's where the people that collect the data
Room 99.
the data are, so they will give you the appropriate directions.
Francis?
Okay, so Honorable Commissioner, you've just mentioned something that I'd like to probe a little more. We've been doing some underground investigation, for instance, with the Akwa Ibom State abattoir in Itam. And one of the findings we have is that those traders who bring in the cows or the cattle and the goats into Akwa Ibom State, even when you stand by the roadside, you find the lifeless ones hanging by the trucks that is coming into Akwa Ibom State. And the reports we have, some of the things we've confirmed is that these cows, when they are brought in, even those ones that die on the way to Akwa Ibom State, are still being slaughtered and sold to Akwa Ibomites. And then in your comment you said you have representative veterinary doctors. Yes, doctors going to the abattoir. I'd like to ask, just yesterday we were talking with the head of service, and we were talking about the allegations of sharp practices by members of the Civil Service Commission. Can you be sure, and I'm asking, maybe, I know you don't have the time to go to the field, but can you vouch for the credibility of the people you send out to the fields to ensure that when they find these things, they don't get money from the traders and then turn a blind eye while Akwa Ibomites are being fed dead animals? No,
you see, you can't expect to get 100%. If we tell you it's 100%, we'll be lying to you. In the service, there are people that do sharp practice. They're everywhere, as a matter of fact. So what happens is, if that happens, I use the word if, because these vet doctors go around to see the status of the meat that is being slaughtered. If that happens, and someone reports that this person was here and did, because there will always be reports. Don't think that when we stay in the office, we don't get feelers of what's happening around. We get information. When we get that, we draw it back to the office. And we find out exactly what happened. And proper civil service disciplinary procedure is followed. Then we send someone else there. So, but like we said, you cannot have 100% where everybody does the right thing. That's why you have the law, to punish people when they derail. Because there will be temptations for some of them to go and they say, okay, I can offer you this, allow it to fly. But we don't only send one person, just like the cooperative thing I was talking about. You send people, maybe in pairs or 3 people to go there. So if one person decides, if you send one person, it's easy for the person to compromise and then nothing happens. But if you send up to 2 or 3, unless they sit down and have an agreement that this is what we are going to do, but it's difficult for 3 of them to go in one direction. So that wastes
and even when they agree, one person will come out and say
it. They may cheat one person and he will come and say, this is what happened. And so that's how we try to
Okay, now, let's come down to a very critical question or concern you raised. Land ownership in Akwa Ibom State is a major issue. Apart from the fact that exactly, apart from the fact that a significant percentage of Nigerian arable lands are not being utilized as we speak, land ownership is one of the biggest problems. Especially, I'm coming back to us, the youth.
Yes.
I mean, the average youth in Akwa Ibom State, you don't even have access to land enough to, you know. I was at the Rise, scorecard that was coordinated by the Commissioner for Information, and I listened to you speak throughout that event. And one of the biggest problems we have as youth is land ownership. So, how can we, let's say Ime and myself, we want to come together, team up, and go into commercial.
Now they have thrown me away.
You're daddy. Let's work for you.
Okay.
So,
makes sense.
Let's say we want to go into agriculture and we don't have land. We have so much passion to go into. Let's say, I know that I've been very close to anti-farm, and I love the fact that he cultivates cucumber, fresh tomatoes, and all of that. I want to go into that, but I don't have a farmland. And I don't have the financial resources. What can your ministry do to give me that grounds?
Okay, you don't need to necessarily own land to practice agriculture, because most of those who practice agriculture, some of those who practice agriculture do so on leased lands, meaning that they lease, those lands are leased for them within a tenure of 1 year, 2 years, depending on what they want to grow. And these leased lands most times are not given for permanent crop cultivation. What do I mean by permanent? Like oil palm, coconuts, any tree crop. It takes a number of years to establish. It's for temporary crops like vegetables, cassava, and the rest of them. So if you want land, it's not a problem. There's land to be leased everywhere. The challenge would be that how much do you have available to lease that land? So that's where the question comes in now. That young people were setting up a scenario where young people can be supported. Because when you give them finance, that's why we don't want to do it individually. We say, come together as groups. When we give you as a group, it's easier for you to do that. If we give you as an individual, your interest may change tomorrow when that money enters your hand. Because of the way young people, they can flip.
Get married.
Yeah, they
married.
can flip over the next cycle. So if you come together as a group, the other people can check, this money was given to us for this purpose, we have to fulfill it. So when they come together like that, we can now say, okay, we support you with X amount of money to cultivate what you want to do.
All right. So my next line of question before Ime comes in, looking at the ministry, you've mentioned some of the departments, and I know that just like you mentioned a particular room, a lot of people would always say, okay, I want to go to the Akwa Ibom State Ministry, for instance. I want to go access or request for seedlings. Are these departments well labeled, just like you mentioned the particular room, that Akwa Ibomites and people coming into Akwa Ibom can just walk in and, okay, if I'm going to the Ministry of Agriculture and my problem is seedlings, I'm going here. My problem is how to deal with mechanized farming or the technical aspects, this is where I go. Are these departments well streamlined and people can easily access them?
They are. That's why the maintenance is more like the customer service. Let me use that word now.
Okay.
When you go there, they will direct you to where else you need to go. But everywhere is properly labeled. And when you say, I can walk in here for seedlings, if you tell us you're a farmer, it's your word against us. We need to know where is your farm. How much farmland do you have? Whether it's a garden, like we talked about, or it's serious farming you're doing, because so many people lay claims on so many things. They can walk in and tell you, I have 50 hectares of farmland doing XYZ. It's not true, my brother. When you verify it, it's not. They can even show you someone else's farm. It is all, and sometimes collect those inputs for all kinds of reasons. So we need to verify that those are real farmers before we put anything into your hands. That's the way it is. So if you go there, you can redirect you to where else you can get what you want.
Okay. All right. My next line of question is still going to be in your ministry. I want to ask, what is the level of publicity from of the activities of your ministry? How many people are aware? Does my grandmother in the village? What's the level of what your ministry does?
Well, since we have extension agents in the field who relate with the farmers closely, so when we talk of publicity, it may not be radio, TV.
Yes.
Those people
awareness of people what your ministry is.
So they can reach out to them. We also have community development officers that if you don't see the extension, you reach out to those ones. They can link you up to the extension agents. Okay, this is what we want. This is what's happening in this location. So many times they come with information. We have an outbreak of this disease that is affecting this crop in this location, farmer X. And then the extension people go to help out. So those are the people that help us who are on ground. Okay. Because most of these people, even in the rural areas, some don't have access to TV, radio, some may not have lights. So in the event that all those things are not there, what happens? So these are the people who are the grassroots who go there to get them and help them out with what they're doing.
Now, Mr. Bush asked you about the activities, and you mentioned training. Now, this training you do to you offer farmers, are they paid for trainings or they're just free?
No, they're free.
Okay.
They're free. The extension agents are placed on salaries. So
Okay.
they now do their responsibilities to train. Training doesn't mean that they put them under a classroom situation and say this is what to do. It means that I can come to your farm and say, the way you used to plant this cassava, that's not how to do it. This is how to do it better. And we also have radio and TV programs to support. We have one in Tangsio that we use our dialect, and the farmers are very, because majority of them are local people.
Absolutely.
So we speak Ibibio, everybody understands. They can ask questions.
Now, it's one thing to train someone, and it's another thing to make sure that they, put these things that I've learned into practice. Is there something like mentorship from your ministry to most of the people that comes for training? A mentorship or follow-up?
It's follow-up, because if you say mentorship, most of these farmers are they are in locations where they already have something they're doing, so you just help them in that line, guide them properly to see that they get the best out of what they're doing. Follow-up means you follow up, find out, okay, what's happening?
Yeah.
Did you do it? If you didn't do it, what happened? And encourage them, because the challenge you have with farmers is that their mindsets is a big issue. So you need to follow them gradually.
All right.
Because otherwise they will ask you, want to tell me what to do? I've been in this business for years. That kind of thing. So you can't really.
Okay, let me just say, normally it's supposed to be some 5 small minutes before we round off, but the program will be going all the way until 10
really?
this morning. Yes, just to make sure we give the 2 hours. We agreed with the Honourable Commissioner to her, because it's not our fault. The roads into this place are horrible, and then traffic too has delayed. Some work is going on in some part of the roads and all the others. So we're trying to balance up things. Our director is Terry, and he's working backstage. He has ideas that we should perhaps open the phone lines a number of times. Terry, if you're ready, you can give the first phone number. Break? You need a break?
Yeah.
Why do you need a break for?
No, when the camera goes over, I'll tell Mr. Bush what I
Okay. Normally, because this is also transmitting for the international audience on Facebook Live and all of that, we try not to take a break when we are with a guest, so that interview, and then we have all of 3 stations, so they may not even be prepared for a break. They just know. But this is the Honourable Commissioner. I'm very fond of her because she's a very nice
and she's
person.
a lady.
So please, Terry, let's take a break and allow the Honourable Commissioner. Honourable Commissioner,
Yeah.
very soon governorship is coming your own way. And I was just going to say, allow the governor.
Don't even go there.
So short break, Terry. We're back in no time. Let the Honourable Commissioner drink a little water.
Thank
and
you.
Tea. We have tea as well. Why not? Yes.
Thank you.
According to figures on the state of food security and nutrition in the world in 2023 by the Food and Agriculture Organization, about 783 million people faced chronic hunger in 2022. World Food Programme Annual Review 2022 indicates that 333 million people are facing severe levels of food insecurity. Globally, new figures on prevalence of undernutrition show that more than 3.1 billion people are unable to afford food with adequate nutrition, with one person dying every minute, especially in the West African region. The picture in Nigeria is not different, as the Nigerian government has admitted that 26.5 million people will grapple with the high levels of food insecurity in 2024. The global scale of food crisis, undernutrition, poverty, and possible deaths resulting from starvation, malnourishment, and consequent weight loss has become worrisome, thereby placing grave responsibility on leadership to think differently and engage innovative ways of dealing with the persistent worrying forms of food production, distribution, and consumption.
I don't believe that it is time to begin to throw blames. I don't operate that way as a person. All of us have to look for ways to bring solution to what is on ground, rather than begin to throw blames. This person is not doing this person is not doing this. We are leaders in our own right. Leadership is about finding solution to issues. We are where we are, and there's no doubt about it. And the point for me is, what can we do to get out of here?
The Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Umoino, is driving an innovative agricultural revolution that aims to ensure food security for all citizens. He understands that given the rising cost of food and the dwindling purchasing power of individuals, many are being pushed to the brink of starvation. Also, Governor Umoino firmly believes that a society that cannot feed itself cannot achieve sustainable development, and this serves as a bedrock for his agricultural revolution agenda, which he is committed to ensuring the well-being of people in all aspects of life, including food security.
As a state, the governor has realized that food security, food sufficiency is primary. And you know that it is the first in the existential sequence of needs. You first look for food. It is after you've eaten that you talk about clothes, you talk about housing, you talk about the rest of the other things. So when people are unable to eat, a hungry people would definitely be an angry people. So the governor, Pastor Omobaseno, doesn't just see agriculture as provision of food. He also sees it from the security perspective. Because where there is lack of food, you're going to have a populace that is unruly. Even in our local language, we say that the hungry man doesn't listen to the gospel.
The agriculture pillar of the Arise agenda depends on an integrated approach that promotes not just individual farmers, but also community farming and agro-allied businesses to enhance food availability and support the economic growth of the state.
Welcome back, special edition of Rise and Shine, a flagship program of Spectrum TV, broadcasting simultaneously on Tansio 102.7 FM and Planet 101.1 FM, right here from Ibiakuruan in the heart of Uruan local government area, which is serves in the heart of Akwa Ibom State in the deep south of Nigeria, on the west coast of Africa. And on we go. My name is Michael Bush, my senior colleague here, the leader of the gang, the leader of the team here is, of course, Francis Ede, and then the new kid on the block, not as cute, so that, I want to be on the safer side. I don't want trouble. I want to come here and go in the next 7 days. It's Ime Emmanuel, and very nice to be with them. And these last 5 days just been the most exciting. As they were. We have a serious, beautiful, wonderful studio guest, and that is the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Agriculture in Akwa Ibom State, Dr. Fiona, a university teacher who is doing fantastically well. You can see her there. Many thanks, Honorable Commissioner, for coming back on the program we continue now, and just to tell you, you are free to join the program. I hear there is an appeal, many people wanting to call in from around the world. You are free now. There's going to be a phone number, but for the radio audience, it's 0704 571 7707. 0704 571 7707. Right? Did I get that right?
Yes, 541.
541, not 571.
Yes,
0704 541 7707. Okay. 0704 541 7707. That's the number for the radio audience. The TV audience is already there on the screen. But I'd like you to just take away the first O and put +234 there, because people from outside of Nigeria may be joining us, so they know how to get us easily. Commissioner, welcome back as we await our first caller. Let me also say that our virtual guest in Lagos is still on the line, Dan Chris Ebie. If you are there, can you come in now, Dan? Good morning again.
To be around you, then you need to do better. Quickly to the Honorable Commissioner. Since we're celebrating 1 year of our dear governor, and he has proven to us that the challenge of agriculture is over. With the food voucher that he has made possible for Akwa Ibom, it shows that indeed we have enough food in Akwa Ibom. I will ask the Honorable Commissioner, with enough food in Akwa Ibom, what are we doing about storage? Do we have plans to store food so that by the time the Bakassi port comes on board, we have enough to give to the world? That's
fantastic. Dan Chris.
Very good question.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for that question. He's talking about storage. And when you talk of storage, what are we storing? He said so that we can have enough food to give out to other people. So storage is dependent on a number of factors. It means what kind of processing methods are you using when you have harvested what you primarily produced to be able to store, and how long can you store it? Where can you keep? Is it in your house, or where else can you keep your farm produce? So in terms of storage, the main essence of storage, apart from selling out, is you are trying to reduce post-harvest losses, because that's been a major challenge in states, not only in Akwa Ibom, in Nigeria. Even when we had a program at the federal level, it's a major challenge the farmers have, post-harvest losses, where if you cannot sell all that you have, some of it is wasted in the markets. And depending on what you are doing, there is a limit to which you can store it. For example, vegetables, water leaf, telfera, okra, those ones are things that you eat quickly. So if you're considering storage on that, it will just be for you to harvest and to sell. But when you step up to cassava, the storage will depend on the level of processing. So when you talk of storage facilities, first of all, that's why we emphasize training and retraining. Depending on how you process your cassava, you can keep it, and the shelf life can take you for longer than necessary. But you see, most of our farmers, they want to get their money quick. So the way they process cassava and sell in the market, the shelf life does not exceed a certain time because of how much you can get from it. Because when it is drier, the volume is less, and the money they get from it is less. So they rather get more money now than to keep it and process. But there are some of them who process it to 3% moisture that can have a longer shelf life, so they can send it outside. People send Gary to UK, to America, and how does it keep for so long? It's the moisture content. It must not be more than a certain percentage so that it doesn't grow moldy. So most of what we are doing, it is in terms of physical structures where you store things. That is not where our focus is. Our focus is on training them on having the right processing techniques, so that by the time we leave that area of where you see our farmers drying rice on tarred.
Yes,
I don't know if you've seen that.
Absolutely.
When you pass
That's rice?
Yes. That's
rice.
Paddy.
Oh.
So they harvest, you then dry the paddy on the tarred road.
I was wondering, this is going to end up in the human tummy.
Yes, with a lot of sand.
Yeah.
But then now they have machines that dispone it.
Okay.
So the sun is best, but then it's a wrong method of doing it. It's not even peculiar to Akwa Ibom. Even when I walked outside here, you see them drying rice on the dirt road. When you come, you drive your vehicle away from where they dry their rice. So our emphasis is on teaching them better processing methods that can help to keep these things longer. But many of them always have this mentality of let me sell what I have. But in the event that you cannot finish selling all, you keep it in a state where you know it will not go bad. And beyond that, infrastructural development, like His Excellency is doing in our rural areas, and in support with one of our projects called RAMP, where the rural feeder roads are fixed. So when you fix that, it's easier for them to get farm produce out. The time it would have taken you to go through a bad road, and I'm not referring to the one we got here.
What's in shade?
So the time it will take you to bring your rice or your cassava from there on a bad road, but if the road is smoother, you come out faster, and if it's your vegetable, you come out faster, you reduce, because the more you harvest it and keep more on the farm, the value is reduced.
Honorable Commissioner, we have a lot of people who want to speak with you and ask questions, so the phone lines are buzzing. So let's get to take some calls. Very first caller, good morning. Welcome to Rise and Shine. Hello, good morning.
Okay, so let's make progress. And Oncom, I know that at least one of us had asked this question before, but I'm just wondering, when you see the response, your ministry, there's a caller back on the line. Hello. Hello, many thanks for joining us. Your name, where are you calling from?
Good morning, Michael Bush. Good morning, Mr. Speaker and the Leader of the House. Good morning, Honorable Commissioner.
Good morning.
I am Comrade Nifre Kenyan calling from Uyo. Well, I celebrate the government of, first of all, let me congratulate His Excellency for his 1 year impactful services to Akwa Ibom State. Indeed, we never knew, a lot of persons have regretted that they wouldn't have fought the coming of this administration because of what this administration has done in the past 1 year. Yeah, hearing the conversation this morning, very interesting. Agricultural revolution in Akwa Ibom State. I don't think we have done enough as a government, which we could sustain agriculture in the state and promote agriculture in the state. Agriculture is not something we allow only in the hands of private persons to do it, because leave it or take it, it will affect the entirety of the people. Most especially now that citizens of Nigeria can no more buy food to eat. Going to the market, you see Gary at 2 cups for 1,000. I was shocked yesterday when I heard somebody said he bought 2 cups for 1,000, which means a cup is 500 naira. I was shocked. Leading to this, I want to advise the government. Let government get into different local government, acquire a land, ask local government chairman or transition chairman to donate a land for cultivation. This is how the PAs of the governors in different wards should be engaged to monitor and supervise these farms. Because this is, for me, this is the only way we could have food sustainability in the state. And also the excesses of unions in the market is something government should really give serious attention to. Just on Saturday, a lady complained to me that she took okra to one market at Ikoretene, and the union in that market never allowed her to sell this okra in the market, saying she's not selling the appropriate price, which the woman was selling below what they are selling. Government should really get into market to see what different unions are doing. Unions are sabotaging the effort of government. Unions are contributed to the rising cost of food commodity in the state. I am telling all this for free. Let government set up an investigative panel to go to different markets to say, by themselves, what I am saying. I am one Akwa Ibom person, which I don't love seeing Akwa Ibom suffering. And that is why the governor has attracted so much love. They have earned so much support from me and love.
Right. Thank you so much, comrade. We'll allow the Honorable Commissioner answer that. I think
and I will want you to cry in the midst of hunger.
All right. Thank you very much, comrade. The Honorable Commissioner will attend to some of the things you have said.
Thank you so much. I understand his concerns and they're real. First of all, he said that local government areas should give farmlands, donate farmlands to government, which is what His Excellency said that they should do across the 31 local government areas. Some of them have given us, some have not. My brother, land issues and not snap your finger. That is the equity those people have.
Absolutely.
I'm not supporting the fact that they do not easily part with it. I'm just saying that
that's all they have.
Yeah, that's all they have. When you go to in our dialect, so saying
absolutely.
So is a lot. So okay, imagine he has been saying that since last year. How many local governments have given us? More than 5
out of 31.
Out of 31. So he said, okay, let's change it. You do local government farms, we support you with inputs. So now that's a different approach. Just yesterday I was in one, they have done 2 hectares.
Whoa.
And they've planted cassava. The cuttings that we get, the improved varieties that we gave them. And you can't say the PA should supervise it. You're not a specialist in that. That's why I say agric is not an all-comers affair. If you don't know it really, professionally, you do not know it. So we have extension agents who will go around those local government areas, seeing what the chairman told me, Mark and Montoya, I joined them to plant this in my local government.
Yes.
So you see, it's not it's something that we are being intentional about. So he talked about another thing, unions.
We have farm produce, we have farm unions, now unions in the market.
The farm union, they want those commodity associations are not even a problem. The matter is the ones in the market.
Yes.
Okay, why is His Excellency set up the bulk purchase agency? The traders will also be part of it. Because if you don't put them there, they'll sabotage it. He told them, we're not saying don't sell, we're just saying that stop this union matter. Let the vulnerable people and
absolutely have access.
So everybody down your tools. We're not coming to fight you because our problems didn't come all in one day. So we'll not solve all of them in one day. We're going to solve them, but we're going to take time to solve them. So those are issues that we are working on currently.
All right, let's go back to taking some more calls. Good morning, welcome to Rise and Shine. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Good morning, my name is Ugochukwu. I'm calling from Aba.
All right, welcome Ugochukwu from Aba. How is Aba this morning?
Fine, Aba is fine.
All right, go ahead.
I want to appreciate what you are doing. And the Honorable Commissioner, she's doing perfectly well. I must confess that Akwa Ibom is blessed with good leaders. Keep it up and God be with Akwa Ibom State. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ugochukwu from Aba.
That's very nice.
That's very nice.
You just called him to bless
us.
Very good.
That's a big blessing.
Yeah.
If when an Igbo brother blesses you,
the blessing is deep. It comes with alert.
Of course.
So we're expecting Ugochukwu to send in the credit alert.
Very nice.
And our neighbors, why not? So
absolutely.
We appreciate him.
So my question was what? What did I ask the last time? I know that I asked the commissioner. I don't know whether she fielded that, but what was that question? Was it about? Okay, but we can still make progress. We can make my last question before next would be Emmanuel. My last question in this round, Honorable Commissioner, before I have the next caller come in, would then be about the commissioner, the governor himself. You've had the privilege of serving at least 2 governors now. What manner of governor is Pastor Umoino, and in what ways is he different?
In what ways is he different? When you're saying different, I mean different from the immediate past governor. Let me start with their similarities before I go to their differences. Because of course no 2 persons can be the same.
Absolutely.
They're Siamese twins. Their similarities. When they give you an assignment, they don't take excuses. They expect results. Like the immediate past governor used to say, that's effort.
And what's the result?
What is the result? So he also is taking that path because he was a part of that administration. When he gives you a task, he wants results, just like the immediate past government. What are their differences? Well, they have different approaches to carrying out the task assigned to them because they're two different people.
Yeah.
But let me say for Pastor Moino that he regularly requires you to give him an update on what you are doing. If he gives you an assignment, he requires you to give him an update. So you need to be conscious of that in whatever you are doing. Like, okay, I'm doing this, tell him that this is where we are. You may not have reached the end. You have started the process. You need to tell him, this is where I am per time, carry him along in every phase of it until you get to the end of the responsibility he has assigned to you. And when you show that you are up to date and carry out that assignment efficiently, then he would now know what the next line of action would be. So it's makes you, if you used to wait and give your report at the end, you now know that you have to break it down into parts until when you arrive at the final answer. So that's some part of him I see that and then he expects you also to use your initiative to do what he has given to you and to come out with results.
Absolutely. Okay. It will take over any moment now, but still, let me follow up by asking you, when you look at him 1 year on as governor of Akwa Ibom, are there particular things you are particularly proud of, especially if they are not within your ministry?
Yes. The model schools, for example. Primary education is the foundation of education. I'm thankful to my parents that I had a very good primary education. And my father always said, if you miss it at the primary level, you struggle through the rest of it. And he was absolutely right. So building model schools in rural areas where children go, school is everything. I attended a school where you had a school library where we read storybooks during library periods. So that made me love reading books. That built in me the love for books. So when you go to see those model schools in villages, it's phenomenal. Those children, once they get it at that primary level, you don't struggle at the university. What you do with it in some of these higher institutions is management. Because it was faulty. They had all kinds of faulty foundations. In grammar, in so many things, a child writes up an exam for you and answers in abbreviations. I mean, so what are we talking about? So those problems are foundational problems. That it's just like saying to change an old man. It's very difficult to change an old man. So once he's trying to get that right at the primary level, okay, what of primary health care? Some hospitals, those people only see on the TV. But now it's where they are. Then the shelter for the elderly, for those vulnerable people. When you see where some of them were living, deplorable conditions. Okay, what of the roads, infrastructure? What of the water? Then he's also entered into markets, building rural markets for the people trying to see. So it's rural development. So you see, it's cuts across different education, health, infrastructure, security, agriculture, everything. Why? Because you don't want these people to keep leaving the rural areas to the urban areas. And besides that, you want to make them live a better life where they are. Power. So when they have all those things, what is the attraction to come to the city? Nothing. So you just stay where you are and enjoy yourself. So those things that I've seen him do all geared towards rural development are things that are very good and also giving the rural people a new lease of life.
Okay. Let me come. You've been the commissioner in Udom and also now. Now I want to ask, there's always something about continuity of projects from previous administration. What is the level of this current administration continuing projects from the previous administration in your ministry?
There's none of them that is left behind. All the projects that were done in agriculture in the Dumas administration is continued beyond the projects per se. Even the interventions that were done for farmers is also continuous. What he's even doing now is saying, okay, let's get more farmers into groups so that we can get more land cultivated.
So, in other words, it's building on what the previous
exactly. It's building on what their previous administration
It's not just
did.
peculiar to agri.
To agri, it's everywhere else, in health, in education, everywhere else.
Okay, so I'm going to come from the educational part now. Personally, I had a serious fight that spanned over 7 years before I could be allowed to do journalism, for instance. I know there are children.
So journalism is like agriculture. Parents don't want you to do that because there's no money in it.
My family wanted a medical doctor, and I said no.
And you would have been a fantastic medical doctor, a cute medical doctor.
Yeah.
I said no, I don't want to be a medical doctor. So it took time. And I know that as far as choosing a career path is concerned, there are families till today. From the moment a child is born, the father says, my son is going to be a lawyer. The mother says, no, he's not going to be a lawyer, he's going to be an engineer. And then that battle goes on until the child goes into secondary school, and there is still that fight. You find the father is buying engineering or legal books for the child, and the mother on the other side is buying engineering, and that fight keeps going on. So how is the government under Governor Pastor Umoino bringing these concerns that is caused by parents predominantly to change the narrative? What plans do we have to also speak to the parents? Because if we are correcting at the primary level, we set the right template, the children have the right orientation. If the parents are not brought into this orientation, it will still be counterproductive.
Well, when you talk of right orientation from primary level, I'm talking of just doing the basics, proper tenses, speaking properly, reading and understanding what you're doing, being able to pass all your subjects without too much stress. Then when you get to the level of, there's a limit to what government can do. A child primarily belongs to the family. So in some families forever, they will not change some of those mindsets because it's a status thing. Oh, my son is an engineer, the other one is a medical doctor. You cannot say he studied agric. No, you cannot say that.
It's the way you say you cannot say you studied agric. That's why the father it should be a thing of pride. I mean, you're shining the light, and everybody can look back and say, oh, she studied agriculture.
My family is different.
Commissioner, let's just pause a little and just go join this caller. Hello, good morning. Many thanks for joining us. You know where you're calling from?
Good morning. My name is Idris Abdul Karim. I'm calling from Sokoto.
Idris.
This is my second time calling.
Absolutely. Yes. Welcome back on the show, Idris. Shoot.
Thank you very much. And I'm glad to have a very, I will not say young, but a moderately aged lady there who has been the commissioner twice. I'm proud of her.
Thank you, Idris.
But at the same time, as the national chairman for NGEI, which stands for New Green Empowerment Initiative, a political pressure group, we tend to look at outside the box approach, especially coming from this grassroots, we call it bottom-top approach system. I want to ask you this question, Madam Commissioner, with all due respect. Would you like to suggest to the governor, carrying along your other colleagues, cutting down your intake by 30%, along with the other House of Assembly members, with also the governor's own security vote, so that we can plunge this money into specialized education, just like we have in China or Norway, where productivity is at bay. Thank you.
Thank you, Idris.
Well, I don't think he knows about the Dakada Skill Acquisition Center, which His Excellency just set up the board yesterday. That's special education.
By the way, it's Anton Chochiludo. Congratulations. That's the chairman.
Yes, the
all
chairman
our friends
of the board.
and even the registrar.
Yes.
Nedudofia. Congratulations.
He said he's the first of its kind in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Why is he setting that up? It's to show that that is not a very formal education. It will be more practical than theory. So many young people will get a chance to do something with their hands. Don't you see when you want to hire people to fix POP for you in the house, it is Togolese that are brought?
Absolutely.
Fabrication of machines, things that young men can do with their hands, like His Excellency has always emphasized. that the era of standing and say you are the leader, that the leader era is gradually going. It's do something with your hands. That's why you see him encouraging lots of entrepreneurs with the boom-led model. So he's with the DASAC skill, that's Dakada Skill Acquisition Center. If it's not in agribusiness or in engineering or whatever area that those young people are going to be trained, it's something that they can do with their hands, because there's dignity in labor, like they say. And everybody will not have to go to school. Don't you see, in the West, I was surprised at some point we traveled, my husband said to me, that young man has never gone to school. But he's working. But the reverse is the case here. You even have a certificate and you don't have a job.
Then if you do not,
you don't even go to school.
We have another caller on the line. Hello. Good morning. Many thanks for joining us.
Good morning. My name is Esther.
Sorry, we couldn't catch your name. What's your name?
My name is Esther Moses.
You're calling from?
Lagos State.
Okay, Esther Moses in Lagos. Woman, talk to woman. Go ahead. Esther, okay. Esther is gone. Yeah, so the
Yes.
when you were talking, the caller came in, and then I don't think you landed with the question about
I'm
career.
saying that it's being able to learn a skill. You see, there was a first class student when I taught in the university who was learning how to fix windows, aluminum windows. First class. The boy actually graduated last year, 2 years ago, with the first class. But when I was there, he was already above 4.5. He said, I said, why did you go to do that? He said, ma, during holiday, there are always house jobs, so I just go fix aluminum windows. When school starts, I come back to school.
And the first class.
So you see, it's not a status thing.
Absolutely.
He was self-sponsored. His parents didn't have the finances to send him to school. And he said he will not let that deter him. And he still came out with the first class. He challenged me that day. I said, why did you choose aluminum of all things? He just said that's where his interest was. So it's not, you shouldn't get to a point in your life, whatever puts food legitimately on your table or money in your pocket is something you should be proud of.
Okay, Francis.
Now let's still calm down. I'm particular about orientation, and we know that His Excellency Governor Pastor Omoyano has been doing so much so far as agriculture is concerned. But like you rightly mentioned earlier on, we have a lot more personal farmers or persons who are not doing commercial farming. So what is the agenda of this administration through your office to have, let's say in the next 1 year, what is the target? What numbers of commercial farmers are we looking to have in Akwa Ibom State? Fair enough, you're starting with getting farmers to form cooperatives, and that means we're going to have a lot more people gain access to all of the help they can get from the government. So what are the projections? Because we talk about food security, we talk about sustainability, and then we talk about getting to the point where we can actually export at this point.
So bringing them together is making them do more than they would have done individually. That's where the focus is now. When you get them to do more than what they would have done individually, gradually we are doing what? You are expanding our scope of production.
All right, just before we come back to you, Commissioner, let's take this call. Good morning, welcome to Rise and Shine. Your name and where you're calling from? Again. All right,
so you're getting them to do more. So that's where the focus is. Some of them will by themselves, by the time they do more in a group, they can also as individuals be able to do more. Because sometimes they struggle between, do I leave this level and going to a higher level? There's so many things running in their head. But if you can do that together as a group, why not you can do it as an individual?
Another caller. Good morning. Many thanks for joining us. Your name, where you're calling from?
Thank you. I'm still Idris Abdulkarim, the National Chairman for NGI. I duly respect my commissioner, and I want to believe that my question has not been answered. And when I throw questions, it is meant to. Yes?
Idris, please. That is very disrespectful. When you ask questions, the answers are given by people who only answer it the way they want. Do you understand? They only can answer it the way they can. They don't answer to please you, Idris. All right? Thank you.
Okay.
Honorable Commissioner,
Okay.
please go ahead. Yes. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so I'm saying that we're talking on what were we talking
Careers?
about?
Careers. No, career. Yes.
Career. So we're saying that there is, beyond building a career in agriculture, there's whatever you can do with your hands that can legitimately put food on your table is something that you should be proud of.
Absolutely.
It's nothing to be ashamed of. So like I tell the farmers, when you go anywhere, don't feel inferior to anybody. If you don't give us food,
we won't eat.
We won't eat.
And all that.
Be sounding so nice this morning. Before you know it, we will not be here anymore, because nutrition determines your health status.
Yeah.
It determines so many things about, and your longevity.
Yeah.
How long you live depends on what you eat.
Honorable Commissioner, Ine is not happy that we talked about it. If you don't give us food, we'll all die. So Ine wants to fire you.
So I want to come from. We've been talking about crops. I wanted us to talk about
animals.
Animals. We have poultry. We have cattle. We have fishery. I want us to focus on fishery. How many of Akwa Ibomites are into fish farming? I know we have large water around us, and we are blessed with
Ime, can we just hold on?
Let's take
this call, Ime. Go ahead.
Hello, what's your name and where are you calling us from?
Yes, this is Gochukwu. I call back.
Yes,
all right.
Gochukwu
from Abia.
I hope this time your blessings will come with alerts. That's what we were talking about the last time. Welcome, Gochukwu.
You see, when I said you people are blessed with good leaders, you don't understand what I mean. See, there are states that were created the same time with Akwa Ibom State. And looking at Akwa Ibom, I am close to Akwa Ibom. I'm in Adia. I know what I am saying. There are a lot of differences, a lot of improvements, a lot of changes. You cannot believe that I traveled from Aba to Akwa Ibom at a point in time during the Akpabio's administration. I lost my way at Etamis Junction. So traveling from Aba to Akwa Ibom makes you know that Akwa Ibom have leaders with good vision, leaders with fear of God. See, with all rest, you cannot believe that Aja State is on a rented government house up to today. Put me anywhere. There are things you see. You forget about the last caller, what he is saying. His own governor cannot do what he's asking your governor to do or the commissioner to do. There are distractions from here and there, but I'm telling you with full respect that Akwa Ibom is lucky in governance. I must be blessed to you. So I just pray that you people will appreciate what you have and continue to do more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ugochukwu.
That's so sweet.
Profound.
That's so profound. That's it does something to my psyche as an Akwa Ibom person. And to be a neighbor. Neighbors don't talk like that about their neighbors. They try to run you down.
Now, before I go back to
that would be the bad neighbors.
I want to say something to that, because it is the nature of Nigerians. We find it difficult to appreciate the things
Absolutely.
we see. We are more of the complaining people. So, if for someone to appreciate things. Okay,
Absolutely.
let's take this call. Hello, what's your name and where are you calling us from? Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Okay, this is a comrade Major Ubong. I'm calling from Sidibo.
All right, go ahead. My brother.
Sidibo.
Yes. Okay, am I live on the Spectrum?
Yeah, you're live. Go ahead.
Spectrum, Tanksy and Planet. Go ahead.
All right, thank you so much. Good morning, the Honorable Commissioner.
Good morning.
All right, and other people in the studio. This is a comrade Major Ubong calling from Sidibo. Quickly, because of time. Honorable Commissioner, I think let me use this medium to appreciate my amiable governor, because at least in the first 1 year we have seen what he has done. But concerning the issue that we are facing today, talking about the agri sector. Commissioner, I think we need to face the reality, because it's just like this one that they're saying that the State of Assembly should go on and take a look of what the transition chairmen are doing, which is not supposed to be so. It's the people in the village that are supposed to do that, because we that are staying with them know what they have done and what they have not done. Then pertaining to the issue of the agri in Akwa Ibom State, please, Honorable Commissioner, with due respect, I think that many of the things that we are saying there is we that are facing the brand that can tell you the reality. Things are very skyrocketed in Akwa Ibom State. Like the issue of, to be sincere, when the governor came to Itam to flag up the issue of bulk purchasing and all those voucher of a thing, Honorable Commissioner, I need to tell you the truth and the whole world the truth. Many of those rights that was brought to that place, it was being booked by the people there. If you see that immediately the governor went back, people started stealing those rights. They said that it's from the government. Why the owner of the rights were coming and shouting, no, it's our rights, so they just book us to bring those rights. So who are we fooling in this state? Honorable Commissioner, in the last administration of the Emmanuel, we remember the scenario that played out in the State Secretariat there. You came and sell Gary there. Are you telling me that my old grandfather from the village will just pay transport and come and buy Americans of Gary? And now you're saying that everybody should, even the governor is saying that everybody should go back to the farm. Now, the issue of the law of talking about open grazing was brought in Akwa Ibom in the last administration. But who is the owner of the cow? Is it the poor people? Is it not our leaders? When you say that we should go back to the farm, we will plant and the cow will destroy it. And everybody is shouting every day on radio and the social media. And the government are not saying anything. The other day, a woman was killed in her farm in Ibisikbo. When she was planning, the cow came and killed the woman. Up till today, it's close to 2 years. That woman has not been buried. So I think we should just face the reality in Akwa Ibom State. How can I be buying 1 cup of Gary, 250? That's why when a child of 5 years eating 5 box of fufu, they will think that he has a spiritual problem. It's not, because thing is hard. So we should look into this. We stop playing politics. Even though we say that we should empower the farmers, is it not the political farmers that those things will be given? The main farmers in the village, how would they locate them? So I think that we are not happy in the state. Things are not moving well with us. Thank you for having me. This is Comrade Major Ubong, calling from Sidibom.
Ubong, before the commissioner takes that, this is just reality. This is life. So the person in Abia State is envious of your state. You don't even wait. 2 minutes later, you bring it up and you try to show nothing is going on.
It boils down to what I said.
Yes.
Nigerians, we are more of the complainers.
Yes.
We want to complain.
What does he mean
before
by
we get back
farmers?
to
political farmers, yes, of course.
Because we have a database of farmers in Akwa Ibom. We had extension. That is why we said, come and verify, come for verification and validation of your farms. So when he talks about political farmers, I don't know.
It sounds strange to you.
It sounds strange to me, my brother. Last year we gave rice seeds to farmers in cooperative groups, in rice belts, Ibiono and in Anuran. They grew the rice, they harvested it, they didn't even bring it to shores. This is what the harvest looked like. But we were not bothered by it. So I don't know who he calls political farmers.
Absolutely.
His Excellency flagged off the bulk purchasing and people looted the stuff in the market. So I don't know where
you blame
who's to blame for that. Anti-open grazing, the enforcement team has been set up. There was a meeting the other day with all the security agencies. They've been set up in different locations in Akwa Ibom. So when he says it is the big people that have the cows, where did he get that information from? He asked the Malam who owns the cow and they told him, no, these headers come from outside Akwa Ibom. When the rains come, they come from Itu. All the major entrances, they will come from Obodakara, the Ikona houses, the Ikonabasi axis. They come like that into the... And they come at a time where you see them come with heads of cows and they just pass through people's different farmlands. The ones that are residents in certain locations, we have their information. And an enforcement team set up with vehicles attached to pick up people and prosecute them. So His Excellency has said, you heard him the other day saying, now that he's saying, having a meeting with calling everybody for a meeting, he's trying to go the peaceful way. When the enforcement starts, nobody will say he has not explored all the options that were on ground. So that you'll be warned. Suppose you forgot that there was a law like this, that the law is going to be enforced.
Oncom, it's good. It's good that Spectrum, I think there's another caller, but let's just hold that caller a little. Spectrum, thanks your planet. They give this kind of platform for you to interface with members of the public.
Yes.
But then, even as you're interfacing, they still need to still use the platform to do more enlightenment, because the fact that, say, the Ministry of Agriculture, I'm not spokesperson for that ministry, I'm not spokesperson for government. I also love us to be critical of government, because that's the only way, as we agreed earlier, to push government to do more. Yeah. But don't do it foolishly. Don't do it as if you are doing it even hatefully. They sell Gary at the secretariat. It's not for your father to leave the village. It's for the workers there to take advantage.
The village people, Gary is their basic food. So why would they need to come all the way to?
So to come here and say, can you say you call my father from the village? Just saying, because you have. And then if you really want to criticize the commissioner, we'll create an opportunity. A physical microphone. You go there, she's seated there, criticize. Don't hide behind the phone too. This kind of platform is for positive engagements. You can even call up the commissioner. Commissioner, I have this kind of idea. Come to my ministry, or do this. You exchange that idea, become a billionaire. Instead of using all the time you want to criticize to show that you have said this. Okay, so this caller, I apologize for keeping you on the line longer than necessary, but good morning. Many thanks for joining us. Your name, where are you calling from?
Okay, I think we lost connection there. I think Dan Chris is still
Is Dan Chris still there? It's gone.
Okay. Is Dan Chris, a virtual guest, still on?
Hello?
Yes, it's a caller.
Good morning. Welcome to Rise and Shine. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Hello?
Hello? What's your name and where you're calling us from?
Hello?
Hello,
yes,
we can hear
just
you
go ahead.
clearly.
Your name, where you're calling from. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Fidelis is my name. Good morning, Honorable Commissioner.
Fidelis, welcome.
Where are you calling from?
Yes, thank you. I just want to know when the Honorable Commissioner will be giving out subsidized oil palm seedlings. I'm an oil palm farmer.
Okay, yeah, we decided yesterday, so you can come to the ministry and drop your data, then we'll reach out to you.
You didn't hear that?
99.
Fidelis, you heard that? That you have to come to the ministry, room 99, and drop your data. Then they'll try and reach out to you.
And verify whether you are an oil palm farmer, like you said.
Or a political farmer. Another caller. Many thanks for joining us. And then where are you calling from?
Okay, let's go to Dan Chris.
Chris.
Take us to Lagos.
Well, Dan Chris, you've been a part of the conversation. Let's get to
presenter today, co-presenter. When we get paid, we'll send something to you in Lagos.
Thank you very much. Like I did say yesterday, let us think what we can do for our state rather than these complaints that we have. For the first time, we have a governor who listens to the people, who makes himself available. What more can we do than to bring ideas that can support him to give us the kind of governance that we all want? This last 1 year, for me, like Francis said earlier, that he has not touched a few places. He has tried. Let's be frank. He has really tried with the limited resources. I keep saying it, and I'll keep hammering on the limited resources that he has. And he has showed commitment to his agenda for Akwa Ibom. And I'm only looking forward to the next 2-3 years. I'm sure many more things will be accomplished. Let us not be bad-mouthing his achievement. Like the Honorable Commissioner said, he came and met problems on ground, and all these problems cannot be solved in one day. He has shown commitment. All we need is to support him, to succeed, and in fact, I am waiting to come into Akwa Ibom in the next few days, to see what we can do to also assist to make sure that he succeeds. And I'm ready, I'm very willing to. Honorary Commissioner, the Bank of Industry has been, there are 2 schemes available for people to have access to funds, because some of these farmers will need funds to be able to, improve in their farming business. And I know that it's quite difficult for people to be able to have access to this fund because of the requirements. Some are required to bring houses and the rest of them, as collateral. What is what are you doing to encourage farmers who are genuinely interested in wanting to go into, large-scale farming, on how to have access to funds? Because really, the country is hard. The country is not smiling in terms of finance and money, monetary policies that we have here and there. What is your ministry doing to assist farmers to get soft loans so that they can, get into farming?
Okay, we like Mr. Bush asked that question a while ago. We encourage them to open accounts with the Bomfadama Microfinance, but he's talked about the banking procedures for the conditions for BOI being very high. Most of these farmers are not literate, so it's easier for them to relate with that bank because they will come down to that level. And I encourage them, if you come together as a group, it's easier to access.
Even BOI too.
Yes, access facility than if you come as an individual farmer, because as a group, your capacity will be measured based on the group.
Yes.
But if you come as an individual farmer, as we used to do a loan analysis for farming, if you say you were doing 0.5 hectares and you're applying for finance for 5 hectares, we will not give you 5.
Yeah.
We'll give you midway, because if we give you too much, if you're a man, you may be tempted to marry a second wife.
And the woman would do what Francis, I think that's yours. I'm not taking to that argument.
So to have an objective analysis, we'll give you midway where we just think that you can step up your capacity. Like I said in Agri, you start small, scale up until you reach where you are going. Don't just want to start big, because if you lose, you may land at the hospital and you will never recover. You've never done poultry, you start with 10,000 birds. If a viral disease comes in and clears them out, your heart may not be able to take it. So if they come together as a group, it's easier for them to access finance. That doesn't mean that they cannot go as individuals, but as an individual, you'll be assessed based on your production capacity and performance.
Okay, we are slowly, gradually, steadily, we're coming to the end of the program. In another, how many minutes?
9 minutes.
Oh,
5
so
minutes,
clearly,
so
okay,
we
so we
have.
should. Really? I thought we were 40 something,
We're 51.
Wow.
50, yeah.
Okay, so on come, we would even have exceeded the 2 hours. We should be winding down. Emmanuel, you have the first shot. Closing questions, the last question, the last things you'd like to say to the Honorable Commissioner, even if it's not a question.
All right, and first of all, I really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I appreciate the effort the governor is putting also. But I think what I want to say is if you can put in more pressure in people, create more awareness, let people be more involved in governance. When I mean involved in your activities, let them be carried along also, where then we'll get the yielded and desired results. I think that's what I actually want to do.
And Francis?
Well, I think I'll go back to my earlier statement. I want to go into farming now that the commissioner is here.
And it's friendly. It's a friendly
and it's friendly.
It's a Francis friendly
let me test and then testify so that everybody will use me as the yardstick to measure. But on the whole, I love the fact that the youths are being given the opportunity. I personally love farming. I remember growing up, and the one place you always go to, it might be garden as the case may be, but there was one small piece of land behind us, right behind us, that my mom will always go to at any point in time. And there will be food, even if there was nothing in the house. So I kind of, picked it up from there. So now that you're here, I'm going to come and make inquiries. I'd like to get into agriculture, but we love the great job you are doing. Our focus and our guarantees that we'll continue to project what the government is doing, and also bring up the sentiments of Akwa Ibomites that would also help the government, look into areas that needs to be looked into for us to continue progressing. But thank you for the great job.
Thank you.
So that was Francis Edet. Thank you for having been part of this edition of the program. Tomorrow is another day, Francis. Emmanuel, thank you for cutting your... what did you cut today? And just like that on the show. It was very nice to have you. My name is Michael Bush. The Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Agriculture, Akwa Ibom State, Dr. Ofionfo, has been our studio guest. And the special edition of the program, it was really, really special because apart from, even extending until 10, it's supposed to be 7 to 9, but we had to go until 10. And then the other reason is that Planet was part of the bouquet, and so too thanks you. Very nice. The Honorable Commissioner who came here to celebrate the governor, her boss, Pastor Moino, had won. It's his first anniversary in office, and we just came to look at the agriculture sector, all the other sectors, and the commissioner has done a fantastic job. But, Honorable Commissioner, before you say your bye-bye and closing comments, I want you to build that around, is there something, some message you wanted to pass, something you needed to say that Ime, Francis, and Michael Bush did not ask you?
Well, he asked a question. He may ask something about fishing. What's the governor doing about that? And he's recently procured gunboats to see that our waterways are safe for our fishermen, because they have a lot of issues with pirates. And we were working in collaboration with the Ministry of Internal Security and Waterways to see that our waterways are protected under the Fisheries Protection Unit, because there's so much happening there.
Absolutely.
And we have the longest coastline in the country. So it's important that that area will also look at it. And like we said, we have a lot of fish, and people love our fish, the taste and all that. But we also have people who are breeding the catfish and other types of fishes. So the governor is also doing a lot in that regard. So, but on the whole, what is his emphasis? When he says agricultural revolution, it means the revolution has to start with our minds. Let's change the way we think about agriculture and know that it is not something that solves the hands. It is something that puts food on our tables. And if we have food, it's the biggest thing that we have. Every other thing lines up after it, because we know, of course, it's the most basic need of man. So he encourages everybody, young. That's why he said, go back to the farm. Civil servants, let's do 2 Fridays in a month. Let's go back to the farm. But what they do with the Fridays is up to them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, but let's go back to the farm. Why is he doing all that? It's to encourage everyone so that you will not have an excuse to say that you will not take part of it.
Fantastic. Every member right here in the live studios, everyone, the Tangsio FM family, yes, Planet FM family, not forgetting, of course, the Spectrum TV family, the TAF Media World family, joins me to say goodbye from Ibiakuran. Goodbye from Uran local government area. Of course, this is Uran. This is not Ini. This is not Mbo. This is not in Siribo. Goodbye. Chairman, thank you.
Goodbye.